here is a joke that's been circulating online recently. Congratulations to the other winners. I'll see you in prison. The joke is aimed at the Forbes 30 under 30 list, reason being that it's become sort of a curse. Several former Forbes hunters have been charged with major financial crimes. Tingbao Sam Bankman-Fried and Caroline Ellison at FTX, Charlie Jevis at Fring, and even Martins Caroli before them. Some of these stories I've covered in detail on this channel. But by Twin Tyson, it was getting so bad that even Forbes had to address it. They released a piece titled Hall of Shame. It featured past winners who ended up facing fraud allegations. And now there's another name to add to that list. Gwen, the 26-year-old CEO of fintech startup Counter, was charged with securities fraud, wire fraud, visa fraud, and aggravated identity theft. Counter looked like a fast-moving fintech company with brand partnerships and healthy revenue. It carried the right credentials, but all was not as it seems. What started as an investigation into fraud and inflated figures spiraled into aggravated identity theft, a federal crime. Now its CEO is facing up to 100 years in prison if convicted. A disclaimer: this case is ongoing, and the allegations remain unproven in court. So, what exactly happened at Keller? What did investors think they were funding? And why does this particular batch keep appearing in stories like this? You are watching Tall Fusion TV. If you had come across Cow in 24, nothing out it would have looked unusual. It was a New York-based fintech startup founded in 2020. At its core, it was a software service looking to change the way loyalty programs work for brands. You see, for large brands, loyalty programs are a big expense. Airlines offer miles. Retailers offer points. Cashback platforms promise rewards. The point of these programs is more about marketing than revenue. They keep customers loyal to a brand, but the extra revenue brought in by such schemes is limited. Counter's pitch was to flip the script on its head. What if those reward programs could generate revenue instead? So, this is how it would work. A brand could run its usual rewards program, but inside that program, customers would see offers from other companies. Think seeing travel deals while browsing for retail discounts. These third-party companies are willing to pay for consumer traffic. If a customer clicked through and has made a purchase, the company that showed the ad space inside their loyalty program would earn a commission. In practical terms, Counter acted as an infrastructure layer, a white-label software system that powered the loyalty experience on the front end and connected brands to networks of affiliate partners on the back end. Okay, so brands can now get paid more for affiliate partnerships through Keller. So far, so good. But as you'll soon see, all was not as it seemed. So before we get to that, let's first take a look at Call's founder and CEO. Gavin is a Turkish-born entrepreneur who studied computer science at UC Berkeley. While still at Berkeley, she joined Celo, a blockchain project during the bear market in crypto. From there, she moved into Robinhood Crypto and later into product roles at OpenSea, one of the largest NFT marketplace. And lastly, I was at early stage team at OpenSea doing product and design, and here I have been seeing how NFTs were powerful to cross the chasm of crypto for everyday user, and every brand and every creator were created trying to amount and launch their community, and this was possible with blockchain-powered engagement and use teas. Robinhood and crypto, y'all give off a certain smell. But anyway, from that clip, you could see that Gamon's early work was at the intersection of crypto and brands. While she was at OpenSea, she worked on brand and creative partnerships, and she noticed that brands were looking for loyalty, membership, and direct engagement. That observation became the foundation of Counter. Counter, in her own words, was meant to be a quote Shopify-like white-label infrastructure for brands to launch blockchain-powered loyalty programs. What Counter provides is a Shopify-like white-label solution for any brand and creator to launch their loyalty or membership on blockchain. The company had announced it had raised upon $5 million in total funding, including a $6 million seed round. At the time, KA publicly referenced brands such as Diva, Mile, Heat, IO, a Swiss football club, BSC Young Boys, and a strategic partnership with the IATA, International Air Transport Association, as part of its network. 10 came the Forbes 30 under 30 batch. On paper, it looked like she was well on her way to the top. A technically credible founder, recognizable brand partnerships, venture backing, and industry recognition. But according to federal investigators, this is where things start to go very wrong. Now, even if you're not trying to launch your own legitimate startup, money is, of course, something we all have to deal with every day. And for a lot of people, it's managing debt. Many don't take debt seriously until the moment you sit down and actually do the math. Suddenly, the joke's over. Your balances aren't shrinking, and the fees keep adding up. That's when it's time to look at options like PDS debt. And that's because minimum payments are designed to stretch out debt for years. PDS debt has already helped hundreds of thousands of people reduce what they owe and take back control. Whether someone's struggling with credit cards, personal loans, or medical bills, PDS Debt works to understand your financial situation and create a personalized plan to help you get out of debt. And the goal is simple. Help you save money, pay off debt faster, and start putting more of your income back to where it belongs, in your pocket. PDS Debt has an A rating by the Better Business Bureau, has hundreds of 5-star reviews on Google, and holds a 5-star rating on Trustpilot, which is part of why so many people have turned to them when to start fixing their finances. The reality is every month you wait usually means more interest and more fees added to what you already owe. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is now. Personally, if I ever found myself in a situation where I needed help getting out of debt, this would be the kind of service I look into. So go to PDS Debt. Confusion to change your story in 2 seconds. Get your free personalized assessment and see the best option for you at PDS Debt. Confusion. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. That's PDS Debt. Confusion. Now let's get back to the story. So Kauder had raised $6 million in the seed round in April of 2022. And that round was built on a story of numbers. Kauder said that the average brand on its platform had around 50 linked customer accounts and was generating roughly 5 of additional revenue through affiliate sales and partner stores. Those figures were an essential part of how the model was framed publicly. Investors were impressed with Julius Janowski, former CC chairman of all people, stating, quote, Kauder's fresh approach to rewards is delivering exceptional value to both brands and their customers. The team's ability to deliver such strong results is truly impressive. End quote. During the seed round, investors flipped through a glowing pitch deck. According to reporting based on the federal indictment, one slide listed Twist brands as, quote, using Kello alongside another affording both live premium status. That means dozens of companies were presented as actively on the platform or experimenting with it in real-world deployments for fundraising purposes. This was perfect. It validated the business model and suggested that the product was already in motion. But federal prosecutors alleged the reality was very different. According to the Department of Justice, Kauder's CEO unilaterally kept 2 separate sets of financial books. One of those sets featured, quote, false and inflated numbers, end quote, and was presented to investors or potential investors to hide a, quote, true financial condition of the company, end quote. In the end, many of the paying customers in the deck in fact were not paying customers, at least in the conventional sense. Several were described as discounted pilot programs that never developed into commercial contracts. In other cases, certain companies listed had no agreement with Kauder at all. Then there was the revenue. The indictment states that the pitch materials reported by Kauder had reached approximately $1.2 million in annual recurring revenue by March 2024. Investigators allege that the real figure was now here near close. They claim that Kauder's actual monthly revenue in April 24 summer wonders CN. Those alleged misinterpretations are the basis of the securities and wire fraud charges tied to the $4 million seed round. But the investigation didn't stop there. Wen, who was a Turkish national, allegedly applied for an L1 visa. This is a U.S. visa category reserved for individuals who can demonstrate extraordinary abilities in their field. It is a status designed for people who can show documented impact, recognition, and evidence that their work stands out. Prosecutors alleged that information out as financial performance and customer relationships was submitted as evidence in support of the E1A visa application. The same disputed metrics shown to investors were also used to persuade immigration authorities that Kauder was a high-impact, fast-growing company. In other words, the disputed revenue claims tied to Kauder were allegedly used to justify her qualification for N1 visa. Authorities cite those representations were materially false. That's the basis for the visa fraud charge. So now she's facing visa fraud charges on top of securities and wire fraud. But that's not all. She's also being charged with aggravated identity theft. But why identity theft? Prosecutors say that her visa application was submitted with letters of support and signed by high executives in business. Authorities allege that those signatures were added digitally by Gen herself without the executive's consent. So now she's in serious trouble, and that's what led to the aggravated identity theft charge. This is no longer just about how a startup misrepresented its numbers. Now it's spiraled into a federal crime case. According to experts, if convicted on all counts, Gen could face up to 5 years in prison. That figure reflects the maximum, and the sentence would ultimately be decided by a judge. According to the FBI Assistant Director in charge, James C.C. Barnacle, Jr. Quote, Goffin allegedly created a facade of her business ingenuity to unlawfully reap financial and personal benefits. The FBI will continue to expose any manipulative tactics employed to advertise misleading investment opportunities at the cost of their related stakeholders. End quote. The link between the Forbes tier list and the tier list and fraud cases is hard to ignore at this point. In fact, just as I was finishing up this video, fraud accusations are being brought against another thread under really affiliated company. More to come on that. It can be said that the Forbes thirst stems from intense pressure to achieve maximum success before age 3. The list is also the kind of achievement that carries fame and clout, a toxic combination for young people that can lead to the fake it till you make it ethos where shortcut can become fraud. In addition, many of the members on the list come from or are funded by industries like finance and tech, which are highly susceptible to scandals such as money laundering, bribery, and Ponzi schemes. But to be fair, the sheer number of people honored on the Forbes list, hundreds annually, means that statistically some will inevitably face legal issues. Over the years, critics have questioned how it really works and how an individual gets on the list in the first place. You even see claims online that placements are influenced by who you know, or you can just pay to get on the list. People pay to put themselves on the Forbes under their list. You also pay. Forbes says that the selections are editorial and independently judged. There is no pay-to-play or outside influence. So all we really have would amount to online speculation at this point, but to some it still seems fishy. Whatever you think of the online debates, the badge itself does not create fraud. It isn't the root cause. Some people earn those badges and build real companies. Some on the Forbes list have gone on to incredible things. The fraudsters, however, seek the Forbes list out as a veneer of legitimacy, and they use those titles to hype themselves up as the real deal while they're running a scam behind the scenes. Ironically, the way things are going, the list may turn into a warning rather than a badge of honor. As for God, the courts will determine the legal outcome. We'll just have to wait and see how the story shapes up. If you're an investor, it's a warning to be more careful. In announcing the charges, the U.S. Attorney's Office warned investors to, quote, beware of fraud masquerading as entrepreneurship, end quote. That warning is aimed at more than just one founder. Early-stage startups are valued on projected growth. Revenue charts, customer logos, marketing, and awards can shape perception long before the financial audits take place. In fast cycles, belief can often move ahead of verification. I'll be here to report on the next Forbes company, Delph, who's found themselves in hot water. That's if you guys are keen. Anyway, that's about it from me. My name is Dogo and you've been watching Cold Fusion, and I'll see you again soon for the next episode. Cheers, guys. Have a good one. Cold Fusion. It's new thinking.